We start with developing news in Ann Arbor, where this morning police were removing pro-Palestinian encampments off the University of Michigan Diag. Some protesters were arrested and are being held in jail right now. We have multiple reporters on the ground covering this complex event as it unfolds. Our Jordan Burrows is on the Diag where it all began, and Jack Springate is at the Washtenaw County Jail. Let's start with Jordan. What can you tell us about how those protesters reacted to being evicted earlier this morning?
Meredith, I can tell you that the protesters were pretty angry about what happened. We're pretty much wrapping up the encampment removal right behind me, behind my shoulder here on the Diag at University of Michigan Ann Arbor's campus. University of Michigan police arrived in Riot gear around 6 this morning to disperse the pro-Palestinian encampments and those protesters. 4 people have since been arrested, but the protesters we spoke to said that this morning, that encampment removal is what started the heated exchange between them and police. It was a breaking point for protesters and campus police. Our eye in the sky captured the moments where they squared off. This was around 6 Monday morning. Non-lethal force was used to disperse the crowd, and officers said if they didn't leave peacefully, they could face arrest. Students and protesters dispersed within the hour and chanted throughout the streets of Michigan's Ann Arbor campus. 4 were arrested and are in the Washtenaw County Jail. Some tell us they were injured.
I was pushed to the ground twice, and I know that at one point I was kind of dragged around and trampled.
Sammy Lewis said she's a community member who got involved in the protests because she's fighting for freedom. She said she was going to the hospital after our interview. We received this statement from the University of Michigan detailing what happened Monday morning. It says in part, quote, "The disregard for safety directives was the latest in a series of troubling events centered on the encampment. Individuals will continue to be welcome to protest, as they always have at the University of Michigan, so long as those protests do not infringe on the rights of others, endanger our community, violate the law, or disrupt university operations." Lewis said she felt like police used too much force during the encampment removal and dispersion of the protesters.
They met us with police brutality to shut us down, and that is just incredibly violent and quite cowardly as well.
University of Michigan police said this in part, quote, "The encampment posed safety risks both to participants and the community at large, and its presence was in violation of multiple policies and regulations. Its removal was important to help maintain the safety and security of the UM campus community." These encampments on the University of Michigan Ann Arbor's campus date back to April 22nd. That's when the encampment first started. Protesters were demanding that the school divest money from companies profiting from the war in Gaza. Meredith?
Thank you, Jordan. Clearly a story that goes back much further than just this morning. Now let's head to the Washtenaw County Service Center where the jail is located. Jack is standing by there. How have these protesters continued to express their demands now at the front door of those who removed them from campus?
Well, just because they've been removed from the Diag on the University of Michigan campus, that doesn't mean these protesters are going anywhere quietly. In fact, many of those same individuals who are calling on the university to divest from groups they claim are contributing to the continuation of the Israel-Hamas war are now calling on law enforcement to free 4 people arrested this morning while police cleared the encampment. Throughout the morning, these protesters marched while chanting their demands, only to pause when chastising members of law enforcement as they cut through the crowd on their way to work inside the building. While they continue to demand action by the university to separate themselves from groups protesters claim contribute to the conflict in Palestine, this response to local police is fueled by the traumatizing events that occurred on campus this morning.
As they'd push, they would pepper spray students and push them up against any infrastructure that was already laid out within the encampment itself. So they were taking down tents, and even the poles of the tents nearly hit students in the face and eyes, and we had to catch that from, causing further damage against students. And as we would do that, they would pepper spray us and then hit us, and then since we couldn't see, they would snatch people out from the group and then arrest them.
And I asked Kamami if there's anything next for these protesters, and while she says there aren't any concrete plans yet for how they wish to carry on their message, she does say that they plan on showing support for the 4 arrested individuals during their arraignments scheduled for this Wednesday. I'm Jack Springate, CBS News, Detroit.